Yourself. When I wrote that hero, I wrote a character named Oblap. Now that's just Pablo spelled backwards. That's super creative, right? I wrote a character named Oblap, and I was supposed to write a superhero story. A hero that my teacher said, write the hero as you see yourself. And you know what I did? I created Oblap like a California surfer. And he had a catchphrase, and it said, yeah, bro. And Oblap, when I was asked to describe him, I described him as having sandy blonde hair and blue eyes that turned white when he was using his powers. And he fought an evil villain. And that evil villain was this sinister sorcerer with dark hair and dark eyes. And Oblap always won. Now let me ask you a question. If the assignment is write the superhero of your own story and write it like you see yourself, do you see a problem with the way I described Oblap? What color hair did I give Oblap? What color hair? Hold up. What color hair? Who? What color? Blonde. What color eyes did I give him? Blue. Let me ask you, what color are my eyes? Brown. What color is my hair? Brown. Why would I write a character? Why would I write a character, a superhero as you see yourself, as somebody who's blonde, blue-eyed, and says, yeah, bro, it looks like a California surfer? Why? Why? This was something that as I grew through my life, not having my abuela, not having the connection to that family, community, and culture, losing the language, losing Espanol, because I was in school and at home I didn't have abuela and my parents both worked. This connection lost, and I did not feel like I deserved a place as a hero in a story. I didn't know it though. When I was in eighth grade, I liked this girl. Her name was Jennifer. She was like this pretty white girl. She was nice. And one Valentine's, y'all know where this is going? One Valentine, you know how like sometimes on Valentine's Day, they like sell the little roses that you can give to people that you want, you know, like whatever, the grams and stuff. I bought a rose for Jennifer, and I made the decision that I wanted to give it to her at lunchtime. Y'all know where this is going? Okay. So I'm at the lunch table. I decided I'm gonna do this during lunch. So I'm at the lunch table with my boy Lou. And Lou sees me get up, and I take the rose in my hand. And y'all have that friend that like is mad loud, and you know like right away, like he's like, oh, right? My boy Lou, as soon as I got up, my boy Lou goes, oh, he's gonna do it. And all of a sudden, you know how like at lunch when you know some tea is about to be spilled, you know, everybody starts gathering and following it, right? I got up, my boy goes, oh, and all of a sudden I have an entourage behind me, following me to Jennifer, who is sitting at the table, eating, and I hand her the rose. I say, here, happy Valentine's Day. And she looks at me. She goes, your eyes are so dark. Puts her head back down and keeps eating. She keeps the rose, but stops talking to me. And I turn around and my boy is like, oh, dang. You all right, bro? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Because I don't know if it's ever happened to you that you feel bad about something, but you kind of keep it to yourself. You don't want to let people know that you feel bad. That's what happened. I was like, I'm fine. I sat down, went on with my lunch, but I did feel kind of bad. But I didn't say anything. That day after school, what I did was I went to the pharmacy on my way to school. And I went to the cosmetic section, and I picked up hair gel, like hair color. You know the hair color gel that changes your hair color? All right, that changes your hair color. I grabbed one of those, and I grabbed a pair of color contacts. And I bought it. I used my allowance money. I bought it, and I put it in a bag. I didn't read what kind of stuff it was. I just put it in a bag, and I went right home. And I went right to my house, went into the bathroom, locked the door. My mom was there, and I didn't want my mom to know, because she would have taken that chancla to my booty. Because if she knew that I had wasted my allowance money on something like that, she would have gotten really upset. So I hid it. I locked the door. And I didn't read the directions on the hair color gel. I just put it like that and put it all up into my hair like this. Didn't read the directions. And you know that stuff, you know how like that gel, it's got a weird color, you know, and I just put it like that into my hair, and then it has a little brush, and I just brush it right into my hair like this. And I didn't wash my hands, and I get the color contact. You know what I'm saying, the color contact? Like it changes your eye color? Okay, I took that little box out. Now I'm gonna tell you, I had never put a pair of contacts on in my life. I did not wash my hands. Do y'all know where this is going? Oh, I don't think you do, not yet. I looked like this. I put the contact into my eye, like that. Kind of itched a little bit, and I went like this and put it into the other eye, and I looked, and I thought for like half a second, my eyes were hazel, and I looked, and I said, ah! And all of a sudden, my eyes shut, and my hair started burning, and I'm making this noise like, and of course, my mom, a couple of rooms down, hears me because she got like supersonic hearing. I don't know if y'all moms have supersonic hearing. My mom was like, rush right to the bathroom. She sees that the door's locked, and she's like, Pablo, abre la puerta. I'm like, no, I'm fine. ¿Qué te pasa? No, I'm fine. And she, Pablo, I'm like, no, stop. And I'm like, oh, like this. And she goes, abre la puerta. And I go, no, shut up. All right, y'all. I don't know if y'all, my mom was a scary person. My mom, so you know how like moms have like a catchphrase when you know that's it? You know you're done? My mom's catchphrase was, óyeme lo que te voy a decir. Right? Óyeme lo que te voy a decir in to what I'm about to tell you. Now, that doesn't translate the same. If my mom would have said, listen to what I'm about to tell you, I would have been like, yeah, okay. But my mom said, óyeme lo que te voy a decir. And my mom was the chancla disciplinarian in the family. And my mom's did not have a little chancla. She had platform chanclas. So those chanclas had an impact. So we knew, my brothers and I, we knew that is not something to trifle with. So whenever we heard, óyeme lo que te voy a decir, we listened. I opened the door. Remember, my eyes are burning. And she opens the door and she goes, pero qué te hiciste? What did you do? And I said, oh, I don't know. And she grabs the contact case. She grabs it. She looks and she goes, pero Pablo, why would you put adhesives into your eyeballs? Do you know the fake eyes that you buy for Halloween that you're supposed to stick onto your forehead to make it look like you got multiple eyes and stuff? You know those? I bought that, didn't read the directions, and put that into my eyeballs. And it got stuck. And I didn't follow the directions of the hair gel. And you're supposed to put like the strands, one strand at a time. I put the whole thing like this, and my hair was burning. My mom pulls my head back, opens my eyelids, takes out a pair of tweezers, and peels the contact. Oh, I'm thinking about it now. It's like, ugh. Peels the contact out of my eyes, washes my hair. And when she blow dries it, I got some crazy looking hair. It looked like a seagull ate seaweed and took a nasty poop on my head. It was nasty. My head was gross. It was weird. It was terrible. And she looks at me and she goes, "Why would you do that?" And I said, "I don't know." But I did know, didn't I? I did know. It's hard when you lose someone like an abuela that helps you to connect. When you all read the epic tale of Arturo Zamora, the connection between Arturo and his abuela, this is the connection that I lost. And I was trying to regain by writing a story like this. Throughout my life, I have felt like I was not fully a part of who I was. I don't know if it's ever happened to you before, that you don't feel like you fully belong in one side or another. You don't really feel fully connected. Maybe you don't love your name like I didn't. When I was 19, I moved to Los Angeles to become an actor. And I did pretty well. I was on a show called Will and Grace. I was in a music video with Beyonce when she was with Destiny's Child. I was in a Pepsi commercial with Ricky Martin. Actually, for those of us of a certain age, I was in the 98 Degrees music video, I Do, 'Cause I Do. I did one of those. The teachers start Googling that, they know. I was doing all right. Now, here's the thing. When I was 19, my abuelita had long gone. She had long passed away. And I was acting in LA, and I was having fun, and I was thinking about nothing but just like having a good time. I wasn't really like connected to my culture anymore because my abuela had long gone, and I was just moving along, moving through. Almost like, you all know the phrase, the tip of the iceberg? Y'all heard of that? So you know what an iceberg is, right? Iceberg is like a giant block of ice, and typically you just see the outside of it from the water. You just see the iceberg popping out. But if you go under, there's a lot more. I was living my life just on the tip of the iceberg. I was only looking at what I saw above the water. So I went around LA playing around like that. One day, I go to this audition. Y'all know what an audition is, right? Audition, you go, is you try out, you're trying out, you're auditioning for a part. And I auditioned for this casting director, and a casting director is somebody who has the ability to give you a job. So I auditioned for this casting director. And the casting director looks at my headshot. My headshot is your picture with your name on it. And before I leave, he says, "Hold on a second, I want to ask you a question." And he looks at my headshot, my picture with my name on it. And he says, "Why are you calling yourself Pablo?" And I said, "That's my name." And he looks at me and he says, "You don't look like a Mexican. Why is your name Pablo?" And I said, "I'm not Mexican, I'm Cuban American." And you know what he said to me? He said, "You're not dark enough to be a Cuban."
That's assuming that people are dark.
Listen, this guy, I don't know if it's ever happened to you before, but you know, like when somebody's being mean to you, but they're acting like they're being nice? This dude looks at me, and I'll never forget his face, because my book, Marcus Vega Doesn't Speak Spanish, the bully in that book is based on this guy. This guy looks at me and he says, "You know what you should do? If you want to work more, you should change your name, because you don't look like what you say you are. You should change your name." So I left that room. I had a decision to make. I'm going to ask you right now. Raise your hand if you think I did not change my name. Raise your hand. I did not change my name. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you think I did change my name. All right, there's a lot of you that did not vote. All right. Casting director. This guy tells me, you don't look like what you say you are. You should change your name. You don't look like a Pablo. You should change your name. I leave, and I have to make a decision if I change my name or if I don't. Raise your hand if you think I changed my name. Raise your hand if you think I did not change my name. Raise your hand if you think I did not change my name. No, I changed my name. I changed my name because you know why? I did not love my name. I did not love my name enough to keep it. And it was not until I went back to Miami to visit my family, to visit my mom and dad, and my dad sees my new headshot, my new picture with my new name on it. And he looks at it, and he does that thing that parents do when they're upset at you, but they don't say anything. You know that look? You know that look your parents give you when they're upset, but they don't say anything? You know they're upset. My dad looks at my headshot, he looks at me, and he goes like this. Just walks off. I asked my mom, I'm like, Mom, why is Papa upset? And she said, my mom always does this. She's like, if you don't know, you got to go research it. I said, fine, I will. Ugh. So I did. Remember I told you about the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg? I was living life on the tip of the iceberg, just understanding just enough about my culture to get by. This is the first time that I go into the water and go under the water to see how big the iceberg goes, because I started researching why my dad was upset that I changed my name. Remember I told you my parents were from Cuba? No. Remember I told you that my dad stayed in Cuba? My dad stayed in Cuba because he was fighting the dictatorship that took away the rights of the citizens that lived there. He stayed to fight for democracy back. And he lost, and he was thrown in prison. And I learned this as I'm discovering more and more and more. And my dad, I learned, was tortured. He was tortured. People grabbed him, put pliers to his molars, and pulled it out. Because the government didn't like what he said. He said, I don't agree with all the people that you're hurting. And they threw him in prison. They tortured him. I learned this. I didn't know this. I don't know what you know about your families or your histories, but I started to discover this at the age of 20. Stuff about my family that I didn't know. And I find out that my dad, when he was released from prison, he was put on an airplane, he was sent to the United States, and the government of Cuba said, if you ever return here, we are going to execute you and execute your family. This is truth. And as I'm finding this out, I realized my dad never returned to Cuba. And then I find this letter. That my dad said. And in the epic tale of Arturo Zamora, you see the letter that Abuelo writes to Arturo. This letter that I found that my dad wrote but never mailed was addressed to mi querido abuelo Pablo. Mi querido abuelo Pablo. And it goes on to say how sorry he is that he didn't get to say goodbye at his funeral because he couldn't go back to Cuba to say goodbye when he died. How important abuelas are to me. My abuela was to me. My abuelo, my bisabuelo, my great-grandfather, my father's grandfather was that important to him. And then I understood why my dad was upset. Why was my dad upset? Who was the letter addressed to? Mi querido abuelo Pablo. I found out that I am named after my great-grandfather. I'm named after my great-grandfather because that's how my dad That's how my dad remembers his beloved grandfather. And I went and I changed my name because some dude 3,000 miles away decided to dictate the terms of my identity by saying I don't look enough of this to be calling myself this. When I am literally named after my great-grandfather who died in Cuba without my dad being able to say goodbye. Well, y'all read The Epic Fail of Arturo Zamora, and any other book you ever read, they all have three themes: family, community, culture, and abuelas and abuelos. Because when I learned that story, I went back to Los Angeles. I changed my name back to Pablo. I enrolled in a writing program at college, and I started writing stories. I started writing stories that had characters your age. I started writing stories, characters your age, and making people like me the heroes of the stories. People like me that have abuelas, que tienen español en su vida, that know tamales and chanclas and all that stuff. I started writing from my heart. I started writing from my soul. And the stories that came out are the stories that you're reading now. That's my journey. I know I'm gonna leave some time for some questions, but I wanted y'all to understand a little bit about who I am so that you can really get why I write the kinds of books that I write. Because sometimes y'all read a book and you're like, well, who is this person? Who is tied to this book? Why did somebody write this book? Right? The Epic Fail of Arturo Zamora is a love letter to my abuela. It's a love letter to my culture, to my family, to my community. And I ask you all, think about your own families, your own cultures, your own communities, your abuelas and abuelos, the people that have the histories that can help you to learn how big the iceberg goes. Gracias. All right. All right, we got some time for a couple of questions. All right, now I'm gonna tap you. All right. All right, let's have some questions. Y'all got some questions? Vamos. Yeah, you have a question. What's up? This book is based on a lot of elements of my life, but it's not a true story. But it is the connection between Arturo and his abuela. You know, there's a lot of food. I love food, you know, like there's a lot of connections, but that's not, yeah. Ahora no. Yeah. No. Yes. Have I made any other books? Yeah, I'm working on, like, I've written now 8 books, 2 movies, and 2 episodes of a TV show. Yeah. Yes. How long? That's a great question. How long did it take me to write The Epic Fail of Arturo Zamora? Let me ask you something. How many years do you think it took me? 5 years. That's right. That's very good. 5 years. 5 years. You know how when you write something and you turn it in and your teacher marks it up and gives it back to you and says, all right, you got to make revisions? Uh-huh. Somebody said no. I know that teacher said gives you revisions. Come on now. Right? Revisions. How many revisions of this book you think I did? 23. 5 years, 23 drafts. This book was originally around 300 pages. So let's estimate 300 pages and let's do some math. 23 times 300 is what? 6,900. I wrote approximately 6,900 pages. 5 years, 23 drafts to write this one book. But guess what? I got a shiny little sticker for it. This book, let me tell y'all something. This is wild. This book, which is based on a kid living in Miami with a Cuban American culture, with an abuela, con español in it. This book has been read all over the world, y'all. This book has been read in Japan, in Sweden, in Canada, everywhere. This is a book about a kid in Miami que habla español con abuela. A book that is being read all over the world, and it's a book that is connected to my culture, my community, and my family. Think about the impact, y'all. So when you think about your own culture, what is the impact you're going to make in the world from your own culture, from your own identity, right? Think about that. A ver. Yeah. He said, what did I change my name to? I always try to get away with not answering that. All right, fine. Y'all promise not to laugh? He said no. All right, fine. Okay, look. So what's the English version of Pablo? Paul. I said, what's the English version of Pablo? And this guy goes, Pablo. That's good. You're right. But the English version of Pablo is Paul. So I changed my name to Paul. And my full name is Hernandez Cartaya. So I had the big hyphenated last name. So I took all the letters out and just left H-E-R-N. So for a hot minute, I was Paul Hearn. Terrible. I mean, look, no offense to anybody named Paul Hearn. I'm sure he's a super sweet guy. But I'm not Paul Hearn. I'm Pablo. That's right. All right. Other question. Yeah. What's that? Oh, did I ever get with Jennifer? No, I did not get with Jennifer, but you know what? She follows me on Facebook. And she sees me all over the world, traveling, doing my thing, meeting famous people. Mm-hmm. She. All right, some more questions. We got a couple more minutes, right? We're good. What's that? Who's Carmen? Where's Carmen? All right, so Carmen in the book, that's the crush, right? So that was a girl that I met in Spain. Her name was Caroline, and she used to read poetry. And I pretended. This is like when I was 13. I lived in Spain, in southern Spain. And when I was 13, I had I had a crush on her, and she would read these books of poetry. And I pretended to write poetry, but I had never written poetry in my life. And I told her that. And chapter 3, Chicken Pot Poems, is literally taken from that experience, because she was like, oh, yeah, cool, you write poetry. I was like, yeah. And when I tried to write, I messed up completely. And she's like, this is not very good. It was heartbreaking. And she did not reciprocate the love that I had for her, let's just say. I don't know where she is. I don't know where she is. She does not follow me on Facebook. I was in an NPR interview once, and they asked me that question. They said, have you gotten in touch with Caroline? And I said, no. But if you're out there, if you're listening, hit me up. No, I'm just kidding. All right, some more. Yeah, yeah. What's that? Do I have kids? Yeah, I got kids. I have a 6th grader. I got a 10th grader. And I got a little 4-year-old. I know, she's so cute. Her name is Paloma. Yeah. No, I'm not even on Facebook that much. I just have it up there, because that's how my mom wants to reach me. I'm like, I'm not on that. She's like, did you get my Facebook note? I'm like, I don't look at Facebook, Mom. Yeah.
Caroline, your god sister?
No, Caroline was not my god sister. She just lived, I lived in an apartment, and she lived down the hall. And I see her, and hey, what's up? Like that. I was just I was terrible. I was bad. Hopeless. All right, let's get a couple more questions. Yeah. What's that? No, pero no es su prima. No es su prima. She was saying she has like, why does Arturo like his cousin? But it's not his cousin. It's her mom. So Caridad was best friends with Carmen's mom, and so they each became each other's godmother, right? So they're not related, but Mop and Bren, they mess with him. It's like, that's your god sister, bro. That's weird. So it's just kind of like part of the fun of it, because it's more like how the friends make fun of you, you know, when you're into that, something like that. Yeah. Huh? Who has a question? You? Yeah.
Why is love a pretzel?
Why is what?
Why is love a pretzel?
Why is love a pretzel? Because I spent my entire life trying to figure it out. And it's still twisty and mixed up, and I'm just all tied up in knots I don't understand. We good? The bell rang.
Wait, don't go though.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Ay, Dios mío. Oh, it's 2:07.
I'm gonna help wrap it up. Is that okay?
Yeah. Thank you all. Gracias. Thank you all so much. Wait. Espera.
I need Naya Ochoa
I didn't hear the bell.
and Frankie.
They said 2:07.
You're in the
Naya and Frankie, please stay. If you are